Thanks for still being there. It's still Summit, and this segment of the program, like I said, we are focusing on Lagos State. And we have joining us Mr. Gbenga Omotosho, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Lagos State. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good morning.
It's our pleasure to have you here. It's what I call a quarterly update from the seat of power in Lagos State. That's for us to be updated on the happenings, the milestones, the achievements, and probably challenges that Lagos State government is confronted with, so that we'll be in the know, so that we'll be on the same page with our government. It's our pleasure to have you.
Thank you, sir.
And he's always available to us whenever we invite him.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
So we're just talking about the issues of the VAT, the recent development from the Federal High Court judgment from Rivers State, and different reactions have trailed that judgment. But we know that Lagos State is also beginning to consider working in the direction of that judgment. And we know that the bill has scaled second reading already in the House of Assembly. So we'd just like us to update the viewers on the steps being taken and where we are right now in Lagos State.
Yeah, thank you very much. In Lagos State, we believe that the verdict of the Federal High Court concerning who has the power and right to collect VAT is in furtherance of our battle for true federalism. True federalism in the sense that what is due to Caesar should be given unto Caesar, as the Holy Book says. And this matter of VAT is a consumption tax, and we believe that so long as the court has said that it should be collected by states, going by the ruling of the court in the Federal High Court, and the Lagos State government believes that this is the way to go, and we are doing everything to see that we obey that judgment. And like we have observed, we sent a bill to the House of Assembly to consider so that it can become a law that Lagos has the right to, like maybe Rivers has done, like to collect VAT. And we have put in motion a process. We have put on notice all of the people who are paying VAT and those who are collecting, and then all the stakeholders, so that they know that well, this is things have changed, and that going by the judgment of that court, we are going to start collecting VAT. And I tell you, it's very good for the rule of law in Nigeria. It's very good for true federalism. It's very good for development. It's very good for growth of even our democracy and all of the good things that will unite all of us. So that if we don't feel cheated one way or the other in any particular area of our national life, everything will be better. And so the judgment is something that we embrace in Lagos State, and that we have applauded, and we are doing everything to see that it becomes a reality.
But from what FRS has said in the last 24 hours, is actually threatening the companies and other taxpayers over the payment of VAT. It should continue. You should maintain status quo, and you should continue to pay to it, and whoever fails to comply with that directive will be forced to pay penalty later, because they are sure of victory at the appellate court. Are you bothered by all this?
We are not bothered by all of that, because it's not a matter of threat, it's not a matter of cajoling, it's not a matter of being bragado. No, it's a matter of law. It's a matter of legality. It's a matter of a court pronouncement that Lagos State government and so many others are trying to follow. So for the FRS to be saying that they are entitled to their own opinion, they are entitled to say whatever they want to say, but as far as we know in Lagos, it's not a matter of threat, it's a matter of law, and we are going to obey the court ruling. So it's whether you threaten people or not is, as far as we are concerned, out of place. What is in place is what the court has said, and it is a court judgment that Lagosians will embrace.
Now, I am aware that this VAT issue is just a kind of a little portion of the whole issue of resource control, which has always been the focal issues on and constitutional review and all that. Since 2014, when we had the constitution, the one set up by the immediate past administration as a Jonathan in confab in 2014, the resource control was one of the issues put on the front burner. Now, is it not actually the issue of VAT? Is it not actually jumping the gun? Why don't we take the issue of the constitution and ensure that the entire we secure the entire victory of resource control, so that apart from VAT, other resources that accrue from states can also benefit the states more than the federal government?
Well, I would not want us to make this in more complex than it is. It's a very simple matter. Rivers State government went to court to talk about VAT and asked the court to make a specific pronouncement on this. They didn't go to court to talk about resource control. And the court, as they say, is no Father Christmas. Whatever you are not asking for, the court is not going to give you. So what is going on is that for now, the battle is in the space of VAT. Who should collect it, who should pay, and all of that. And we do not want to problematize a problematic problem by saying that we are lumping resource control into it. If you go to court and talk about resource control, I know that the courts, competent as they are, they know what to say about that. But for now, that is the issue, and I think the court has resolved it.
All right. Now, on issues of internally generated revenue, we know Lagos State stops, and a lot of monies coming through from different sectors in the state. Now, with this victory, this VAT victory that we have on the table now, how much more development, how much more improvement, how much more better life should we envisage for Lagos State with this development?
Yeah, it's very nice for people to talk and think about what they feel is big in terms of internal revenue in Lagos State. But people also have to consider the challenges that we have. If you look at the security problem in Lagos and some other states, for example, you see that Lagos has been relatively peaceful for indigenous, for visitors, and for all stakeholders to do their businesses without any fear of harassment, intimidation everywhere. All of the stories that we hear in some other places, you don't hear them in Lagos. It costs money. It costs a lot of money. Recently, the Lagos State government donated to security agencies equipment worth over 1 billion, and that is no mean feat at all. And now to come to your question specifically, what Lagosians will expect, should they have more money coming in through the VAT? Honestly, we have so many iconic projects coming up in Lagos State, and there are some that we are doing now. For example, the regional road that we are doing, the Lekki-Epe Expressway, all of the roads we are doing in Ikorodu, Obase-Kumade Road, Agric-Ishawa Road, and then we are building jetties, about 15 of them all over the place. No fewer than, no less than 10 of them, 12 of them are completed already. We are going to be commissioning them very soon. We have built no less than 9 brand new schools that we are going to be commissioning very soon. And of course, we are talking about the blue line and the red line, the rail project. By the end of next year, by the grace of God, we will move the blue line that will be moving passengers from Mile 2, Okukumaiko to Marina, and the red line that will be moving people from Butemeta all the way to Agbado, conveying thousands of people every day. So these are iconic projects, and projects that Lagosians will see that will soften things for them, that will do a lot in terms of taking the stress away from them. I mean, for example, we have 21 ferries plying the waterways now, and more Lagosians are embracing the waterways. Things will get better on the waterways, and then we'll be able to resolve all our transportation problems. And so many other things that we are doing in housing. More and more people will enjoy the housing program of the Mr. Baide Sanwo-Olu administration if we get more money. So it is a better life for Lagosians that we are talking about.
Okay, one of the iconic projects that the present administration actually proposed last year, sometime last year, was the 4th mainland bridge. Let me just ask, seize this opportunity to ask, is this still on course?
Yeah, the 4th mainland bridge is alive, it's on course, and by God's grace, by the end of this year, there will be a closure on it. There is going to be the groundbreaking by December, by the grace of God. Now we are at the stage of picking out of the so many contractors who applied to do the job, to pick the right person. I think there are about 3 of them that are left in the race now. So very soon, any moment from now, one will be picked, and all we are trying to do is that we want to know the contractor that has the financial muscle to do this, that has the technical competence to do it. And
is it going to be PPP? That's a public.
Correct. Correct.
Private-public partnership.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not going to be funded directly from a balance sheet. So by the end of the year, by God's grace, all things being equal, Mr. Baide Sanwo-Olu, the governor, will go and do the groundbreaking ceremony.
All right, so we've sorted that out on the issue of the VAT. So let's move to another issue, which is the issue of the striking doctors. We know that yesterday some members of their union met with the governor, and the issue of, at least for Lagos State doctors, were addressed. And we were told that they have agreed to shelve the strike and resume work. Very funny, one of our staff lost her husband because of this strike, because at the point of taking him from one hospital to the other, he lost his life. So that issue is very dear to our hearts right now in MITV. So would like us to update us on issues regarding that doctor strike.
All I can say, first let me just commiserate with you on the loss of your members of staff's husband. That's quite unfortunate. But I would like to put it on record that not all doctors in Lagos State were on strike around that time. The one that was actually affected, where you have a concentration of the resident doctors, our last week. And what I can say now is that after that meeting, the doctors, they went away smiling, because all of the things that they asked for concerning the state government, the governor, Mr. Baide Sanwo-Olu, conceded to them, and they were very happy, and they pledged to return to work, even though you may not have heard that they came out with a statement to say that we are calling off our strike, even though I've heard from so many other sources too that they said that. Well, all I know is that anybody who goes to last week now will find service. The doctors have promised that there will not be any breakdown of a service. So if you go to any of our hospitals now, especially Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, we find our doctors at work.
And that's good news. Let me just maybe stretch the argument for that. NMA to also threaten to join the strike. And then the Joesu, do we take it that all of them, for us, at least in Lagos State, have decided, to provide the service on
you see, what has happened is that it's not as if Lagos State doctors really had any ask to grind with the government. The problem was, when a union calls a strike, and then all the branches want to join in solidarity. Lagos doctors, they have accepted, they have agreed that the governor and the government have done a lot to better their lot. They have agreed that the government has done a lot to ensure that their welfare is not neglected. There is nothing that they are fighting for that the government has not done. They are asking that we should build facility where you can have a hostel for resident doctors. And the governor immediately signed that the project should continue. Even before they started agitating, Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu, the governor, had announced publicly that we were going to build a doctor's resident doctors where they can stay right inside their hospitals. So that is being done. The money they are asking for, allowances and everything has been paid. Before we paid 75%. Day before yesterday at that meeting, the governor, Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu, signed the remaining 25%. So all of the things that they are asking for has been done. They have been done.
All right. The issue of the open grazing, the ban.
Yes, I know when talking about the two bills already being attended to by the State House of Assembly. One of them is the VAT bill. The other one is the open grazing bill. Now, there's a law on ground that armed herders risk 21 years jail term in Lagos State. To what extent is Lagos State ready to actually enforce all this? Because we have seen it in other states. Ondo, for instance, where these laws have been passed, and yet nothing has concretely happened. It's still the normal open grazing, and nobody has actually been apprehended or arrested or actually taken to court over it. So to what extent are we ready to press this law?
Well, I tell you, any law that has been passed in Lagos State, before the law is passed and signed by the governor, is a rigorous process. And once you have gone to such a rigor, you must have considered how to enforce the law. So in Lagos, we do not pass any law in vacuum or in vain. We pass a law, the governor signs a law with the intention that enforcement will begin to take place immediately. So if there is a law on open grazing, against open grazing, I can assure you that it's going to be enforced in Lagos. We have our law enforcement agencies who are well encouraged to do their job, who are well motivated to do their job, and who are well equipped to do their job. So if we pass such a law, I assure you it's going to be. But in Lagos, you do not have problems about farmers, herders, as you have in other states. So that for us is not, as they say, it's no big deal.
Well, you know, people were actually expecting this law to be enacted from 1st of September. But right now we're still on it. Why the delay? You
know, we have, I would not want to talk about the House of Assembly, but I know that the executive passed the law to the House of Assembly, and the House of Assembly, they have to do their job. And the process of passing a law, from the little we are seeing from the public angle, is not something that is so fast. It's not like going to McDonald's to buy fast food and a burger to eat. Now, it's something that has a process. I think the public is involved. You have to do public hearing so that anybody who has anything against such a law will come out and talk about it. So I think it's at that stage now of a public hearing. And after that, they take it back to the House, and then it's passed and it becomes a law.
Jumoke, you recall that the last time we were privileged to host the Honorable Commissioner here, the issue of the transportation came up, and he spoke extensively about the state government effort in easing transportation in Lagos State. That was when the state government took the step to introduce the first mile and the last mile buses. That Lagos State, I mean, the Lagosians will have access to these buses, particularly those who stay in the hinterland. Please update us, sir.
Sorry, sir. Before he answers that question, let me just announce that you can be part of this discussion by sending us an SMS. Please, today we want you to send SMSs. So send an SMS to the number we'll display on the screen, either asking a question or making a comment regarding whatever it is that we are discussing here in the studio. Please just send an SMS, tell us your name and where you reside in Lagos, and we'll read the message and he will address it. Thank you. All right.
So we just want we want to x-ray the success. How successful has it been? I mean, the implementation of these projects.
You know, it's an ongoing process, and it's still on. We are moving in the buses every day. The target is to have 5,000, believing that the buses that can take like 7, 9 people, 11 people, if you have about 5,000 of them and put them in strategic places, that people, the Gaussians, will prefer to board them instead of boarding Okada, because they are more comfortable, because they are more durable, because they are more secure, unlike Okada, where motorcycles, when there's an accident, there's blood flows. But these vehicles flying social distances where people use motorcycles now, we believe that that is the kind of thing that Lagosians should enjoy. But like I said, the target is 5,000 and we are not yet up there. That is why you may see some kind of a slowdown in that sector. But the program is alive, it's on course, and we are following it.
Okay. So, the one that probably Lagosians would also be interested to know about is the issue of health. Now, COVID-19, the third wave, is here and there is real. Reportedly, Lagos has, as usual, had the very, I mean, it's always up there in terms of figures of new cases. What does the situation stand now, and what are we actually doing to scale down the effect of this of COVID-19?
It's unfortunate that despite all of the efforts that we made, we still have to contend with the third wave now. And it's like that, it's a global phenomenon. Even in some other parts of the world, they're having the fourth wave now. But what we are doing in Lagos is to see that we are stepping up our advocacy, telling people not to lower their guards, telling people to still do all those non-pharmaceutical protocols that the experts have recommended, washing our hands or sanitizing our hands as many times as possible, wearing our face masks, avoiding crowds. Should you feel any sickness, you go and see a doctor. And well, I think as much as possible, people are trying to comply with this. But apart from that, our most important strategy is to vaccinate as many Lagosians as possible, at least the target of 60%, so that we can have what the experts have called herd immunity. The thinking is that if we have herd immunity, if anybody falls sick, is going to be, not many people will get infected if you have a 60% of the population who have been vaccinated. And thankfully, the vaccine is here and people are receiving the vaccine now. And then I think that we are still expecting many more. And as soon as we get them, we begin to vaccinate people. And once more and more people get vaccinated, the effect of the virus will reduce.
Now, the governor is said to have is quoted to have said that the high rate of the cases is actually caused, necessitated by inbound passengers into Lagos State, and that the government is going to view it seriously for anyone who evades or sidetracks or maybe avoids at the point of entry. So, how far? What are you actually doing specifically to ensure that this is reduced, at least from that end?
First, you have to realize, like the governor said, it's an imported virus. It didn't originate from here. And of all the flights coming into Nigeria, I think Lagos has over 70%. So more and more people are coming. The federal government has marked some countries as red list countries like Brazil, like Turkey, and South Africa. So all these countries, when people are coming from there, what we are doing is to put them in isolation. We have some hotels that have been earmarked for this. So they go into isolation for 7 days, and then they have the test before they are allowed to go into the society. and after 7 days they come back to have another test. And I think so far so good, these have been working. Some people try to evade the system, but we have been able to round them up and make them to comply with the law.
Okay, with regarding to taking of the vaccine, I know initially when the first batch came, it was concentrated more on the elderly, the people, health workers and all that. Okay, so has the space opened now for every other Nigerian to get vaccinated? And have we been able to hit the 60% mark of having total number of people who have been vaccinated in the state?
I think the vaccination is free and open to all Nigerians who are qualified for it. The parameters have been stated by the experts, and I think that talking about vaccinating 60% of Lagosians, we aren't near that at all. We haven't done much.
That means people are not say receptive to coming out.
No, they are coming out. You know, we started just about a week ago, so it's not something that is so fast. And I believe that Lagosians, they have seen the good effect of the vaccine because most of them, many of our people are enlightened, and they have read the newspapers, they have seen on television how useful the vaccine has been overseas, and even how useful it's been here. Some of the people who have, I think over 90%, if not 99% of the people who have died in the third wave are people who did not take the vaccine at all. So it's on the safer side that one should take the vaccine. So all the people who have not taken are being encouraged to take. So far, nobody has gone there and then they say it's finished, or there are some encumbrances that he has to clear before getting the vaccine. So the advice is still for people to go and get the vaccine, so that our target of vaccinating 60% of the Lagosians, we can meet it.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and then when we return, we'll take a few more topics on Lagos Day. But meanwhile, please, I asked for an SMS, and people are calling. Please just send an SMS of your question or whatever it is you want to contribute to this discussion. We'll take it when we return from this break. Please stay with us. All right, thanks for still being there. We have one question here for our Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy. He said, good morning, sir. My name is Suraju Soni from Lagos. Please, sir, you're talking about public hearing before they can put an order into law. Is it the public hearing will be done in the public where the media crew will go out and do? I really don't get it.
I think what he's talking about, I think, is the normal process in lawmaking is that, you have a public hearing. You take the law to the public for them to criticize, for them to add to, for them to subtract, and just show them what you want to do. It's, I think, a part of the pillars of democracy that people have to be involved in doing all of these things. And I think it's very common with lawmakers for them to, apart from reading the law on the floor, they have to also take it to public and even announce to the public that they are going to have a public hearing on a law. And I think that is what is happening in the case of VAT and open grazing in Lagos.
Talking about education now, schools across the Federation are set to resume. But in Lagos State, the Honorable Commissioner for Education has said this time around the resumption will be staggered. Do you have an idea what's the motive behind this?
Well, I think first, we are still talking about the third wave of COVID-19, and then so many other things that we need to put in place. So I think in the wisdom of the Ministry of Education, they want to stagger resumption so that they don't put everybody in at the same time. And then we have one or two issues in concerning our model college history, which have been resolved.
So what specifically, because that it's also it interests me. What's the resolution now? I mean, parents are saying the hike in the fees may not actually suit them. As the state government,
nobody wants to pay for any service.
It's free.
Yeah, that is the question. And I tell you, at that level in Lagos, state education is free. If you have paid that's paltry amount.
That's 25,000 naira.
18 or 25,000 for the past 18 years or so, and then you feel you want to feed a grown-up child 3 times a day with that kind of money for about 3-4 months per term. I think if they look at it very well, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, if your child is attending a model college and you want the government to do everything for that child, you don't want to, as a matter of privilege and as a matter of right, and you don't want to talk about any responsibility at all to that child, to the society, I think it's unfair.
People have said 300% increment at once.
Why are they talking about the percentage? Why are they not talking about the actual money? How much is it that we are talking about? Let us even agree that there are people who cannot pay. Because there are parents who have said, not all parents are saying that the government has not done well. Not all parents are saying so. That is why you can see that the protest is a bit sectional. Not all parents are saying so, because the money, 18,000 naira also to feed a child for 3 months, I mean, let us be realistic. What are you going to give the child? So I think it's been unrealistic for some parents to feel that the government has not done well by saying this. And there was a consultation before we arrived at that payment. There was consultation.
All right, I have another message here. This one is from Uche from Coca. He said, please sir, what is the state government doing or planning to do over the flooding we are experiencing in the state in this rainy season?
Well, that's a very good question. It's not, Lagos government actually prepared for the flooding that he may be experiencing in his area now. But like I would like to say, these are just flash floods. They are not floods that you experience and then they stay there. If you consider what is going on in some parts of the world now, in the US, in China, some parts of Germany, you see that flooding has really done so much violence to them. People have died, and property lost, and general disturbance of daily activities, disruption to what people do every day. But here in Lagos, once you have a flood, give or take 1, 2, 3 hours, the flood disappears. And thankfully, we have not recorded any death. And the government, since last year, has been warning that there will be floods this year, that we should get prepared. And people who are even staying around the places where you have you are likely to have floods, they were advised to relocate so that after the flood they can return to their own homes. Recently, the Honorable Commissioner for the Environment, Mr. Tunji Bello, he had a press conference where he warned Lagosians of the pending floods, saying that the rains that have been predicted by the meteorologists, that the rains will actually come and that we have to prepare for them. And I feel that if you go around Lagos now, we have done a lot in terms of drainage. All of the big drains that we have, we've been able to put them together in readiness for this sport that we are talking about. But it is to be noted that some Lagosians are still in the habit of blocking the drains with the refuse. They feel that anytime it's rainy, you go indoors, carry your refuse and put in the drains. And this is the kind of thing that we should discourage all of us. It's not good at all, and it's making it to be as if the efforts of the government are not showing at all. But honestly, the government is doing a lot. You have gangs that go around anytime there's a flood anywhere. They want to find out what has happened. They want to go there and clear the drains immediately. So like I said, it's not something that is permanent. Anytime there is flooding, you find out that within 1 hour, 2 hours, it's gone.
Now, refuse disposal by Lagos is one of the factors responsible for this flooding and all that. But I'm aware that recently Lagos State government launched this compact trucks, these trucks by Loma, over 100 trucks. To what extent has that actually helped the refuse disposal, collection and disposal in the state?
Well, if you drive around Lagos nowadays, you see that it's cleaner than it used to be. If we have to be, sincere with ourselves. And that has shown in the over 100 compact trucks that the governor, Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu, introduced into the system a couple of weeks ago. And then those bins that were introduced to, you can now see that some of the littering that we find around are from people who are not conscious of the fact that the environment must be kept clean. You are driving, then you buy gala, then you throw the wrapper out of the window, and then you are coming into Lagos from other places, you buy bread, you throw the wrapper out of the window. Those are the kind of things that we still see nowadays. But if you drive from here to Bia, if you go from here to Ikotun, the streets are kept spick and span. You find out that everywhere is clean, unlike other times when we had refuse ships all over the place. You can no longer find such ships in Lagos. And most of the time at night when you drive, you see these vehicles that we are talking about in action. You see them walking, packing refuse from one end of the city and going to the dump sites. And they are very active. Besides that, we have we have gone technology way in refuse. There is an app that you can get online if you want your refuse to be picked or you have anything to complain about. You can use the app to complain, and then you find our officials, Loma officials, coming to you to do the needful.
Now, the one that is most recent trending issue is the issue of a lasso, which the governor has said unequivocally that he's disinterested in who emerges the VC of lasso. Just share that.
I think concerning the choice of a VC for lasso, there is no problem about it because the law is there, the procedure is there, and it's an open thing. People will apply and they will go and do exam, they will go and do interview once you meet the criteria, and then the people who are going to supervise the process, they are reputable people, knowledgeable people, intelligent people, people who are well known, people who are credible, and then they look at the thing, and anybody who has done well will be picked. But the problem is that people...
But you know that 3 people are usually presented. The first are presented to the chancellor, so it's prerogative to pick one of the 3. Is it that maybe that's the issue? Is he going to allow them to pick, to have the final say on who emerges, or he has a right to pick out of the...
Like you have said, the procedure is that they will pick and then send 3 names to him, and he has the right to pick one of those three names. And I don't think that because of whatever anybody may have been thinking, that right should be taken away from the visitor to the university. It is right to pick anybody. What he is saying is that in the process, it's not going to interfere, and he has not interfered. It's not only in LASU. Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu, the governor, doesn't have any interest in forcing anybody on any organization. And so it is with the case of LASU. So long as the people who are choosing are qualified, so long as they have gone through the interview, so long as they have done well, then he now has the final say.
Why does the state need additional two universities? The state is proposing University of Education and University of Technology. That's the former last protect will be upgraded, and then the LACOED will also be upgraded. Why do we need
if for example, if you look at first from the view of the students who go into these schools, it's better for you now to have a PSC education than going to have an NCE education. So the kind of funding that we need to run those schools are the kind of is the kind of funding that you are going to need to run the ones for NCE and all of that. And then for us to be able to do things that will make our students to be proud of their certificates. So we need to upgrade all these schools because the world has really moved on. We need to produce better teachers. So if you have a University of Education, it's going to be better run, it's going to be stronger, more attractive to the people instead of just leaving them at the level of NC. And of course, University of Technology, you know that is the way to go now. The whole world is going the way of technology, and we need to encourage our young people to come into such an institution and be given the kind of education that will make them strong and for them to be able to compete with their peers all over the world.
Do you have any message from the governor for our people?
Well, the message that I have from the governor, from the people, is that they should continue to stay the course, they should continue to stay solid, they should continue to be firm and supporting the administration of Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu, because greater days are coming, the greater Lagos dream that we have, we are going to get there, and that Mr. Bayede Sanwo-Olu is already seeing that Lagos, and they should continue to support him in taking them there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
2 hours may not be enough for,
Yeah.
for the Honorable Commissioner.
All right, so that's our program this morning. Thank you so much for coming again, sir. And thanks for those who have sent in their SMS. I believe that the Honorable Commissioner has been able to answer your questions and address those issues appropriately. We'll see you again on Monday for another edition of Summit. My name is Jumoke Michael, so stay safe.
Sincere regards to the governor and his entire team. We wish you the very best as you take Lagos State to a greater height. My name is Banji Busari. See you again.